So over the weekend, we got the news from the Times and the Athletic that Arsenal and Newcastle had basically reached an agreement for Bruno G. The fee was said to be about 8 million and could rise to 100 million depending on the clauses that has been inserted in the deal. Although they went out of their way to very much specify that this deal had been agreed by third parties, not the club directly. But as soon as that news broke, every other outlet came out to say the same thing, that Arsenal and Newcastle had already agreed a deal. The Times even went as far as to say that the only thing remaining was for Arsenal to book a date and time with Bruno G to come to his medicals and basically seal that particular deal. So, in my head, that was his transfer done. All that was left was just for us to conclude and get this entire thing done. That was how I was thinking. So you can imagine my surprise yesterday when I was going through my phone at work just to keep up with the transfer news. And one of the very first things I saw was from Newcastle was basically saying that Newcastle had rejected Arsenal's opening bid of about 75 million. And at that point in time, it felt like I was in a time loop. It felt like deja vu because I could swear that about a month ago or so, Fabrizio Romano had basically said the same thing where he stated that Newcastle had rejected Arsenal opening bid of 55 million and also rejected Arsenal's second official bid of 65 million. So I'm like, what are we doing here? Because it's starting to get harder to tell which are the deals done with the intermediaries and which are the deals that had been done by the clubs face-to-face. But I'm going to go with what Luke Edwards said because apparently he's reliant when it comes to Newcastle news. It's kind of like that David Austin of some kind. So he basically said that this is the first time Arsenal and Newcastle are like finally meeting face-to-face, and Newcastle has been kind of angry with the way Arsenal has been handling the entire deal. And to be fair, I kind of get where they're coming from. Because at the very moment, the very few things we can confirm is the fact that Bruno G has already come out to say he wants to come to Arsenal. Bruno G already agreed terms with Arsenal. Newcastle already know for sure that he is leaving. This was basically one of the points that was cited as to the reason for Eddie Howe leaving their club. Even the amount that they want has been stated long ago that they want something closer to 8 million, something from 80 to about 100 million, depending. At this point in time, we know that they want to sell or they would have to sell Bruno G. The only thing here is they want to make as much money as possible. And whether we like it or not, they do have some leverage. They have Bruno G for the next 2 years guaranteed with the option of a third year. I didn't even know that was possible in football because I thought that was like a basketball kind of thing. So they can really, really drag this deal as long as they want to. But I do feel like, given what happened last season with Isaac, which benefited nobody. It did not benefit Isaac, though he got his transfer to Liverpool. It didn't benefit Liverpool because they still paid as much as they paid for a player who did not have any preseason, and it took him like a long time to get going. And as soon as he got going, he started picking up the injury. He also didn't benefit Newcastle, who did not have enough time to reinvest that funds properly and how to like take gambles on players like Elanga and Wisa and Watamade. So basically, the point I'm trying to make is, even though they have all of this leverage, they also do not want to make the same mistake they made last summer. And I do feel like even the player do not want to do the same thing Isaac did last summer, because apparently he was supposed to go to training camp on Sunday in Spain with his fellow Newcastle players, but he didn't. But the news coming out yesterday said, as of Monday, he had gone to training camp. And I'm assuming he's probably just going to say his goodbyes to the club, because in my head, I feel like that transfer has been done. But I'm also a bit conscious as to how much Arsenal would be willing to pay, because we've had so many deals this summer where we've kind of refused to meet the offer that was being demanded by the selling club. But I do feel like this transfer is gonna get going. I just do not like the fact that we are dragging this, and maybe I don't really understand what the relationship would be, but it will make sense just to do the right thing and get the proper thing done. Because either way, we're going to be spending a lot of money on this player, whether we like it or not. It's going to be 39. Sorry, it's going to be 29 by the end of the year. So regardless whether we pay 75 million or we pay 80 million, we would be overpaying regardless of that. But the point here is we know we're going to be overpaying. We also know the quality of player we are getting, because I've stated this many times already. Even with the Vinícius Júnior transfer to Arsenal or the rumors to Arsenal, I feel like Bruno G transfer would be the most important of both transfer, because I feel just like Vinícius Júnior is going to bring in a skill set we necessarily do not have in our team, especially in the midfield, which is with regards to progressive passes. Our midfield for the past 2 years has struggled progressing the passes, has struggled progressing balls forward, progressing their passes forward, which is why we would always see players like Odegaard drop so deep into the midfield to receive the ball, to then progress the ball. Bruno G solves this problem. Bruno G also brings some form of creativity that we've been asking for like a long time. I know we improved on that with Eze last season, but I feel like Bruno G is more of a consistent threat, if that makes any sense, compared to Eze, who tends to have his moment. He's more of a moment player. And I feel like the most important thing he brings to the team is the fact that he allows us to rest players like Rice and Zubimendi, particularly Rice in this situation, because I feel like he's going to be benching Zubimendi regardless. But I do feel like it would give us the opportunity to better manage Declan Rice, so we do not start to lose this player to injury, to better manage Zubimendi so he doesn't get tired. He can play with anyone you pay him. He can play with anyone you pair him with in that midfield. So he works, and I just want us to get this deal done with, because like, what are we doing at this point in time? If you want the player, go get the player. Again, we are going to be overpaying regardless of how we feel in this particular deal. So over the night, we got more of an update regarding the deal when this journalist Bruno Adandre of ESPN, who basically covers Brazilian football and Brazilian players, came out to double down on the news that came out in the weekend, where he basically said that Arsenal and Newcastle had agreed on a deal over the weekend, but the hanger here is that Newcastle are angry that the deal got leaked, because they would have liked to announce the departure of Bruno G while also announcing the player to replace him to the Newcastle fan, which kind of makes sense in my head, because Newcastle have lost a lot of players over the last few transfer windows. Isaac, Tonali, Gordon, they've missed a lot of players, but with all of those players being mentioned, Bruno G is still the most influential and still arguably the best of the bunch. And regardless of whatever they do, the fans are still going to be hungry at the club. So, but it kind of makes sense to mitigate the hunger by saying or by showing them his replacement while they're selling him. So that makes sense in my head, and that is what I'm trying to buy into, because I feel like this deal is going to be done regardless. I mean, I feel like this deal has been done. It's just a matter of time. But so much conflicting rumors have been going over this summer. It's like you don't know what to believe in, you don't know what to buy into. It's just been clicks. Like everybody has just been posting so many things. It's kind of hard to really follow transfer news well this summer. And talking about transfer news and talking about Vinícius Júnior, because I referenced him not so long ago, we also got an update on his transfer saga, where it was stated that Real Madrid offered him 22 million euros, which is about 8 million short of the 30 million he wants from Real Madrid. And again, this is good news to Arsenal fans because it will basically mean he might have to decline or refuse a particular deal, which will make him open to joining Arsenal. Because if you remember, based on all of these rumors and outlets and all of these is that we've been hearing, he has already agreed a deal with Arsenal as it is. So if he's declining to sign with Real Madrid, it means that we have more of an opportunity to this. And I'm also going to be buying fully into this particular rumor because it goes with what I want. But I guess the point in all of this is that in the very next few hours, there could be another outlet that will come out and post that he's agreed to sign a deal. And that might be very much true. I just feel like in as much as we want to get all of the news, I feel like these people are taking a piece with the rumors that we've been getting lately. But again, this is ESPN coming out to say that Vinícius Júnior is likely to be rejecting a deal with Real Madrid. Make of that what you want. And in general, if I'm just going to be talking about the things I've not liked so far with this particular summer, I need to point out the fact that we've barely sold anyone. I know we sold Trossard for what? For 80 million euros. We all know that a better selling club could maybe get more fee for Trossard, even though I know he's worth 31 last year of his contract. It's better to get something for him. I just feel like we've been so bad at selling for so long that when did Chamberlain leave Arsenal? I swear this could have been 8-10 years ago, and he's still our highest money we save in terms of sales. It's so annoying, and I was hoping that this is one of the things that was going to improve with better, because now we hear that Nogard is going to Everton for 7 million. We're hearing that Arsenal is demanding about 18 million from Hamburg for Fabio Vieira. Again, I don't even know who's demanding that particular money because Hamburg is not going to pay that money. The highest they've ever paid for a player is about 14 million or so for Kostic back in the days. The most they've received from a transfer is 18 million for Nigel de Jong from like back in the days. If we all remember Nigel de Jong and his flying kicking and all of this ridiculousness, they don't do deals at the range of 16, 18 million that we're demanding. So we very most likely might not be able to receive that amount of money for a player who I still consider a talented player who has just not really been able to like do much in an Arsenal shirt in Fabio Vieira. We're going to be getting what? Because they probably might just come and pay 12, 14 million or so, and we would be forced to almost sell because no one else is coming for this player. The same thing can be said with Gabriel Jesus. No, I've not heard him linked to any player. I think the last time I saw anything regarding Gabriel Jesus was when there were rumors from Italy that he might be going to Italy, but it wasn't even a specific club that was being rumored to be coming for him, and that was like a month or so ago. And since then, we've really not heard any news or updates. These are players that we would struggle to get out of the club, for the lack of a better phrase, obviously, because these players, in their own way, they've contributed to the club. So I kind of need to be respectful of that fact. But you kind of get the gist. I mean, say we get what's his name, Vinícius Júnior into the club. What then happens to the left wing? Because you're going to be having Vinícius Júnior, Solis, and Martinelli. I mean, we only have so much minutes, all of these players, because Vinícius Júnior is going to get about 70% of the playing time. And Solis will probably have to manage the other 30%, depending on what we do with Martinelli. And for some reason, we've not heard any news or anyone come for Martinelli, which is very surprising because this is a very talented player. In a different system, he could probably thrive. Maybe if we've had a better ball playing left eight for the past 3 seasons since Shaka left, maybe his form would not have stagnated or dropped as much as it has over the past 2 years or so. I feel like there's a player there, and I still don't understand why clubs have not been coming. So again, I guess as much as we are paying attention to the Bruno G transfers, to the Vini G transfer, those are the transfers that are really going to move the needle. We still kind of need to move players away. We still kind of need to create space in that club. We still kind of need to generate some form of funds. I mean, we had the 35 million for Omanere to AC Milan, which I don't know how to feel about the deal. I don't know how to feel about Omanere because, to be honest with you guys, I do feel like at some point he was very overrated for what we got. Yes, we could point to the goals, 4 goals here, 2 assists here. We could point to the numbers. He always managed to get those numbers, like especially when he initially broke through, and he got very much overhyped, even though I always struggle to see his general influence in the game. But I feel like as time has gone by, it's gone from being very overrated to very underrated. Yes, I know Dauman has broken through. I know we can't necessarily see the playing time for him. I know his loan move to Marseille did not pan out as much as we want. And I know he's struggled to really make an impact in recent times in a national shirt. But I feel like there's a player there. And I feel like 35 million is very small for the talent he has. The only way I can cope with the 35 million is the fact that he also is being rumored that we have like a buyback clause, which would make sense. Would offer you this player on a fair deal, but would also like have a buyback clause there. So say this works out, we can always buy him back, and we don't even have to play. It doesn't even have to play for us because we could do what Madrid did with Nico Paz, where it's like they loan the player out, then they brought the player back in, and it feels like they're selling the player back for a much higher fee. We can do this with Iwanere, but I just feel like I am not really at that point in time where I feel like we should just sell him off without any of these clauses, if that makes any sense.